Oh, hello, everybody. I hope this finds you well, no matter when you're getting it. Last night had just gone to bed, and that's when my mind starts working really fast. And Spirit told me, my guides told me, I needed to come on and talk a little bit about spiritual sabotage and how we can use rituals for connection. You've probably heard a lot of this before. I know that I've heard it many times over the 40 years I've been a metaphysical person, but it's always nice to get a reminder. So that's why I'm here today. And what I want to do is explain some things that I'm seeing in the chats that people are feeling disconnected by, in a way to hopefully help that out for you. So, the first thing that comes to mind when spiritual sabotage comes is just the idea of sabotage in and of itself. We sabotage our good all the time out of fear, because either we don't believe that we have seen or heard or felt what we really saw, heard, or felt. We doubt ourselves, that imposter syndrome. Or we are busy with our physical lives in the third dimension, and we don't think about taking the time to connect with the other side or in that fifth dimension. I think everybody goes through that. I did. I know that I disconnected probably for about 10, 15 years, even though I still believed in all my beliefs. There was a time when I wasn't as active for different reasons. Some of them had to do with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and but I think if I did connect with it at the time, I would have fared a lot better than I did at the time, because I was basically sabotaging myself by staying in the negative thought, by feeling things would never get any better, and by almost poo-pooing the idea of any affirmations or any beliefs, or having faith in anything. It just seemed like there was no faith, there was no hope in parts of my life. And I know everyone feels that way at some point, called the dark night of the soul. That's not spiritual sabotage. That is just living on this earth and going through a lot of crap at the same time. Spiritual sabotage is just one form of sabotage that we do. We do that in the physical world with a job. We do that in with our families. If our families say they'll help us, and we say, "Oh no, that's okay. I'll do it," we sabotage our good. We also don't take compliments. We don't believe we're worthy of certain things. We we have all of these tapes running in our heads that creates that spiritual sabotage in our lives. So we feel a very definite disconnect from the higher part of our access. I remember my mother, God rest her soul, didn't know any better, but always told us that we couldn't afford this or that. And she was basically affirming the belief that she had that we could never afford to do something. It's a lot of it has to do with the power of language, the way that we interact with ourselves and what we do with that. It brings us always to a place where we seek out like-minded folks, because it's very, very clear that the people that we connect to really well don't always live next door. And so my community here on YouTube is vast, and I love it dearly. I love my Aussies and my New Zealanders and my UK people and my Norway and Sweden and Denmark people and Canadian and on and on and on, honestly. I also know I have some European followers as well, and always happy to see them, because we have a different time schedule that we're in, so we can't always watch lives. Anyway, it's very important, first of all, I think, that you take the responsibility that you may have sabotaged your own good or your spiritual growth by feeling as though you do not have a gift, you do not have access, you do not communicate, you do not listen to intuition, because there's something lacking in you. That is not the case. Quite honestly, I was in that same feeling for many years. I, like everybody else, can hear and see and feel, And yeah, I got some great hits or whatever where I know something that it's otherworldly knowledge. And it just took confidence. It took confidence, and in my case, it took time alone, time through COVID, when I couldn't go anywhere or do anything, to settle down and work diligently on becoming a better spiritual person. I'm not fallible, not by any stretch of the imagination. I can fall back into my old patterns very, very easily, and I have to remind myself of them all the time. I don't know if that will ever change, but when you're, mid 60s going towards 70, you know that it's important for you to listen to your heart and yourself. And I say that to anybody at any age, quite honestly. And men say, oh, women are the more intuition people. No, we're not. You just have to develop that side of you. You have to feel the heart-centered connection. You have to feel worthy of your spiritual attainment. And yes, you do have to live on the earth. We all have to live on the earth. We much rather live somewhere higher than that. And some of us spend an awful lot of time in the air, if you know what I mean, instead of grounded to the earth. Many of us are flying here and flying there. If you look at the tarot card castles in the air, where there's a guy meditating and there's a cup right in front of him, and he just doesn't see it. Doesn't see it, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. And that's exactly what if you're feeling frustration, that's exactly what it is. And it's trusting the small things that bring you to that place and how you're going to handle it or heal. So many people are awakening right now. So many people getting thirsty, hungry for their answers, hungry to get their skills started. Instead of always looking at the outside for answers, we always need to look within, because within is where we have all the knowledge between here and our higher selves. We have all the knowledge it takes in order for that to happen. So, what are some things that people are very resistant to because they've already tried it? What form of ritual? I think meditation is a hard thing for folks. I really honestly do. I'm not perfect. I think and talk in my head all the time. For me, it's listening to a chant, or it's listening to light language music, or it's listening to instrumental. But there's a lot of other rituals that you can follow that will bring you a feeling of closeness with the divine and the divine spark inside of you. One of those things, of course, is journaling. A lot of people don't want to hear that either. They say, oh, I don't want to write a bunch of stuff down. Just write gratitude down for the day if you have to. That's enough. That's something. That's tapping into being here in the present moment and writing what today you're grateful for. It could mean that you woke up this morning, or you're not in pain, or you got paid today, or you caught up with a relative or a friend that you haven't seen for a long time. You have an animal with you. Whatever it is, tap into that gratitude. One of the most empowering things for me, I believe, is having an altar. Well, it isn't what you see in the normal church forum. It is simply can be a shelf. It can be at the top of a bookshelf. It can be on a table. And on that table, you can have some kind of divine entity if you wish. If you are not interested in doing that, you could always lay a Bible on it. A sacred text can lay on it. Put some candles there. Get some incense. If you don't like incense, there are sprays that you can get, spray bottles, for instance, of Nag Champa. I got this on Etsy, and I love it because sometimes the smoke bothers me if I'm lighting incense. Or I might have somebody over in the house that it bothers them a great deal. Lighting a candle, saying a prayer or a blessing, putting a picture of, for me, it's Green Tara. She's the one I listen to when I listen to chants as well. But this is Green Tara. She is the compassionate Mother Buddha. And she's just awesome. She really rocks. And I mean, I've studied all the major religions. I didn't even know about Green Tara, however, until probably 2 years ago. And now I can't get enough of listening to what it is that you can chant, which is Om Tare Tu Tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu tare sere do ha. Om tare tu re so ha. Om tare tu re so ha. And then it repeats itself. It brings my vibration very high. Is that going to appeal to you? Maybe not. But you could listen to other music that does. Perhaps you want to listen to chimes, or you wanted to listen to bells, or you wanted to listen to a Gregorian chant. Whatever it is that calls to you is, and so this is what's most important. Don't spiritually sabotage yourself by thinking it has to be right. There is no right. You create the ceremony. You create the altar. You put anything on it that means something to you. I've seen them with stones. I've seen them with pictures. I've seen them with affirmations. I've had books up there before. I've had, let's see what else, grids. I have grids sometimes on there. I have Green Tara on there sometimes. Sometimes I have the Buddha on there. And of course, there are different periods of time in the month that you can follow when you can work with the moon energy. And so, we have a half a moon, we have a full moon, we have a new moon, we have all of these things. You don't have to be an astrological snob to be able to do this. So I'm not saying astrological people are snobby, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's over my head. I can't, I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. Don't worry about it. Just do it. You're not doing anything negative. If your intention is meant to be done to bring in light and love and energy to yourself and to heal the earth and to love and light to others, then know that your intention is what matters. What it is, the only thing that intention doesn't do is figure out when you say something negative. They think that's intention. They don't hear the word not, like I don't want to blah, blah, blah. Don't say I'm not. You are a beautiful incarnation on this earth in this beautiful planetary language. And all of the things that you are learning came in the right time, came in the right place. You are learning and growing and just absolutely ascending. And read some books, do your work, listen to some channels like you're doing. Bring your questions to the chat. There's nothing wrong with me doing a reading for you or anybody else doing that reading, whether it's a medium reading, an oracle reading, a tarot reading. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you really have the answers. You know what they are. So sometimes when I hear a question or see a question, I say to myself, they already know. They already know because they're asking this question. So they know what they need to do. You may say, no, I don't. No, I really don't. I really don't. You really do. Trust your guidance. Trust your gut. We've moved away from it for many, many years. But it's always still been there. That still small voice that tells you, this doesn't feel too good. I don't think I want to do that. Whatever it is, it's telling you what you should be doing. Those of you who have followed my channel for quite a while know that in November 2020, I had no idea what I was going to do when I came on here. I thought, I'll talk about some spiritual stuff and maybe I'll get some guests to come on. And I said, I'm not a reader. I'm not a medium. I'm not a psychic. I'm none of those things, but I am a teacher. So I can come on and do teaching. Since that period of time, my skills have developed and I'm ever humble because I realize that if I'm not, they can also be taken from me. I don't have perfect readings. I don't have perfect medium or psychic ability, but I am human and I'm a work in progress. And so over that time from November 2020 to early December 2022, there has been a lot of growth in my life. And you all are responsible for a lot of that. You and the guests that I've had that have brought me so much joy to have on this channel. So do not allow yourself to sabotage your own good. We do it. It's a psychological thing. It's part of an archetype that we all have. It's easy to do because it's just us. And that's when that imposter syndrome kicks in and says, "Oh, I'm not as good as this one or that one, or I don't read cards, but I don't read cards, or I don't know anything about that, or I'm just with these people helping them out. There's nothing I know." I'm a Buddhist. We don't want to talk about what we are and how we see ourselves. I found this out more rapidly than it could ever be when I applied to become a second-tier adjunct at a college nearby. The dean was frustrated with me because she said, "You're not saying what I need you. I don't know what it is. You're holding something back." Her intuition told her, there's something there that I'm not saying. It sounded too pat or too rote. It didn't sound like it probably should have sounded. Finally, after the third time, she came back to me and said, no. I said, okay, here's my problem. I can't toot my own horn. I'm not comfortable tooting my horn. I am a Buddhist, and I believe. And she said, wait a minute. You've told me everything. And how lucky our students are to have you, because you have a different worldview, a different perspective. Tell me about that. Tell me what that perspective is in this paperwork. Tell me how you teach, and you teach a certain way that's different from someone else. Tell me how much of an impact, if any, that you can find. But mostly, to thine own self be true. You don't have to walk around and say, hey, I'm great, I'm wonderful. You don't have to do that. But you do have to stand up for yourself. You do have to make sure that you let others know that you are aware and astute, and you are different than everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Not a thing. No thing, right? No thing. So I'm not going to make this any much longer. This is pre-recorded, as you probably have determined. But I want to say that rituals can also be walking rituals. There are people in the community that go out every day for a walk, and I'm going to my podiatrist after Christmas to see how I can figure out what to do with my feet so I can walk again, because I used to walk 7 miles a day. You may have a ritual to snuggle with your animal at a certain time of the day. You may have a ritual for the holidays coming up. Even if you're alone, try and celebrate your ritual if possible. It may be hurtful because you're alone, and last year you weren't alone, and somebody has passed, or there's a difference. Believe me when I say you can ask them to join you, put a table setting out for them, talk to them like they're there, because they are. You just can't. It's a new way of communicating. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks. That's their choice. They can choose whatever they want. When I had my discussion with my brother this summer, just before I came back, and I kind of brought up a lot of these things to him and my channel, and also that we didn't know if he was going to be sick, or I was, or whatever. We wanted to talk about that. And when I did, I told him I had this channel and that I work with all these people. And I said, I know that's probably really weird for you. And he and my sister-in-law said, no, a lot of people believe what you believe. There's a lot of people that do. And that doesn't mean those people have to agree, the people that you're telling. They don't have to agree. But if they really love you, if they really believe that you are valuable to them, they will accept that is what you are and how you work. Think of all the people on here that opened channels in the last 2 years that never would have even thought of it, including yours truly. No way. No way did I think about it. So, be there in the present. Don't worry yet about the future. Take care of the now, and enjoy the journey. Thank you so much. And no more spiritual sabotage. Get your rituals on and make a change in your own life. Love you guys. Bye.